guys, TJ here. Today we're up on the Hintertux Glacier and we're going to be doing a board comparison between the CAPiTA DOA and the Super DOA. We got the DOA ready to go, we got the Super in the bag. We're going to get some laps going and do an on snow comparison to tell you exactly the differences and how these boards feel on snow. Let's get these laps going and get into it. All right, you guys, so I've spent a lot of time on both of these snowboards, but I did give my feedback on the comparison at Tux after riding them both side by side, same day, same binding. So we'll get to that in just a minute. We'll head back to Tux. But for now, I wanted to quickly talk about some of the similarities and differences in construction between the two boards for you guys. So the Super DOA is like the big brother to the DOA. They're gonna have the same shape and geometry and profile, but they're gonna have a lot of construction differences. So first off, they are both true twin snowboards. They're gonna ride the same in either direction. They're gonna have the same profile, which is the Resort V1 profile from CAPiTA. That's gonna be camber dominant, camber through the body past the inserts to a small flat to rocker. They're both gonna have their Fortress aramid bound sidewall. So that's like a very resilient fiber is what aramid is. They make bulletproof vests out of it. So that's gonna increase the durability. That's why they put it in the sidewall and just make the board a little bit more bulletproof for you if you want to beat up on them a little bit. They both have a good bit of carbon built into them as well. They have carbon strips running down the entire length of the board, but the Super DOA has twice as much carbon as the DOA. So that's pretty sick. Other than that, the construction is a little bit different. So the Super DOA is all about high performance and lightweight. So to accomplish that, they do have a little bit of a different core. The DOA is going to be a Poplar Polonia core. The Super DOA is going to be similar, but also includes a very lightweight, airy, recycled material in the core to reduce that weight significantly more. Another really unique feature on the Super DOA, one of my favorites, is that it has a 3D milled core. So the way the core is profiled on the Super DOA, which is visible just looking at it, it makes it a lot beefier and more sturdy torsionally, but still allows you to get flex in the tips, whereas the DOA is going to be a more standard construction. The DOA has more of just like a regular standard top sheet, whereas the Super DOA has their Mega Light skin top sheet. It's a 60% weight reduction on the top sheet for the Super DOA. And they have different bases as well. So the DOA does have a nice high quality, high molecular weight sintered base, which is great. But the Super DOA takes that even to the next level. It runs one of CAPiTA's XT bases, which means the base material is a little bit thicker and even more durable. But the coolest part about the base on the Super DOA is the structure that you're gonna find in it. So that's kind of like some slight grooves and channels. They're actually visible on the base, and it just helps move moisture from under the base and get it out of there more quickly. So it's faster in all snow conditions straight up, but I think is extremely noticeable in the spring when you have that higher moisture content. It really prevents that board from suctioning down onto the snow. But yeah, it's really cool. I think it makes it slide rails a little bit better as well, or you can hear it when you're sliding rails at least. Maybe that's just a mental thing, but yeah, pretty sick. So those are the major differences in the construction. Like I said, geometry and profile are exactly the same, but at the end of the day, it does really change the feel between the two boards pretty significantly. So that's all I got for you guys for a tech comparison. Let's head back out to Tux and talk about the differences between how these ride. All right, y'all, so first off, so you know, these are both the 2025 models of these snowboards. They're both size 154, and I rode the same pair of Union Force bindings on each of them to try to give the most fair comparison possible. And at a very high level, I would say the Super DOA is really a more powerful version of the DOA, as you might expect. It's also notably more lightweight underfoot, which is pretty interesting. Flex-wise, the Super DOA is gonna be a little bit stiffer than the DOA. It's more noticeable with the torsional flex. It's significantly stiffer torsionally that I think gives it a little bit more response. and a little bit of a more locked in feel around the resort, but it is a little bit stiffer lengthwise as well. Now with the 3D core profiling, the Super DOA, you can still get some good flex out of the tips. Still really fun in the park, but it is going to take a little bit more effort to get flex out of the Super DOA, and it flexes a little bit differently. Let's put it like this. If the DOA is a 5 out of 10 flex, both lengthwise and torsionally, I'd say the Super DOA is like a 6 lengthwise and maybe like a 6.5 or 7 torsionally. For butters and flat tricks, both of these boards are going to be a lot of fun. They both have that positive camber, energetic feel, and it's definitely a little bit easier to get flex out of the DOA. So the trick selection and the balance point in each board is going to be a little bit different, but I think that you're going to have a good time on either one. They're pretty equal in that department, in my opinion. But energy wise, the DOA is super poppy. I've always talked about how this is one of the poppiest boards I test throughout the season. The Super DOA wins in that department. I think you are going to find a little bit more energy and snap out of the Super DOA, just really coming back to the core profile and the flex you're going to find in this one. When you load this thing up, it snaps back with a ton of pop. And I've done a lot of park laps on both of these snowboards. I've tested them both in Colorado and Mammoth, and now here out at Tux. And I think for just general all around park riding, both jibbing and jumps, techie tricks, bigger tricks, whatever you throw at it, the DOA has a more comfortable feel. It's a little bit more maneuverable with that softer torsional flex. It just feels a little bit more comfortable in the park. It's a little bit more pressable, but it still comes through with the stability that you need to step up to larger features. So I'd say as a dedicated park board, I'd probably go with the DOA over the Super DOA. This one has a little bit more of a jump leaning feel. It does have a little bit more stability and a little bit more precision. So it's not as comfortable on the jibs. They're both still a lot of fun for park laps, but I got to give it to the DOA for just general freestyle riding. And for carving and exploring the resort, these boards have the exact same geometry, so they do have a fairly comparable feel. I'll say the DOA is a little bit easier to maneuver, a little bit easier to initiate turns, but the Super DOA really comes through with noticeably more power, specifically more power to the edges. So it feels much more locked in. It feels a little bit more capable at higher speeds. And I think for like a resort explorer, the Super DOA is definitely a step ahead of the regular DOA. The most noticeable thing for me, aside from the response that you get from that stiffer torsional flex, is the power to the edges. This thing does have a lot of precision and a nice locked in feel to it. So to summarize my opinion on these two, after spending multiple days on each board and doing a proper side-by-side on snow test in the same day, I'm gonna say the DOA is a true freestyle snowboard. It's got the maneuverability you want for park laps. It jibs, it jumps, it butters, and most importantly, it just has a very comfortable, natural feel for that approach. Whereas I'd say the Super DOA is more of a true do-it-all board. It's like a real all-mountain freestyle snowboard. It's still comfortable in the park, but it's gonna give you a lot more precision. It's gonna give you more stability, and it has a lot more power torsionally, which I think makes a huge difference around the resort, especially carving and getting in more variable conditions, where I feel like that provides a much greater benefit. I hope this comparison helps you out if you are deciding between these two snowboards. This video has been a long time coming. I'm stoked to get it done. I'm gonna have each of these linked below so they're easy to find. And if you are doing any shopping online, it's a great way to support the channel absolutely for free. Let me know what you think about this video in the comments. If you want me to do more comparisons and see that on the channel, or if you feel like I left anything out, I appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching today, and I'll see you in a new review next time. Later, guys.